Greetings, my friends.
Hello, everybody.
And welcome to Become One Living, tools for living a conscious life with Jody and Dan Boysitz.
Welcome. We're happy to be here.
And happy that you're here with us.
Yeah, we're looking to put a little yoga back into yoga.
I love that. Bringing the yoga back to yoga. Well, let's get serious now. We have been talking about the 8 limbs of yoga, and we are now on Pratyahara.
Which means withdrawing the senses or turning in.
Pratya means to withdraw or go against or to turn away from. And ahara means food. So pratyahara means to turn away from food, to withdraw from food, but not the food that we think.
Like food, you eat food for thought, all sorts of food that nourish the human.
Anything that you take in, is considered food in ahara. So pratyahara is saying, turn away from distractions outside of you and turn back towards you. Now, where does that fit in the 8 limbs of yoga? We just ended with pranayama, which is breathing. And before that, you have asana. Mm-hmm. We have moved from bigger, denser, more external things. Now we're moving into more internal. The only way we can get internal is by turning away from the outside world.
Who knew there was so much more to yoga than just asana?
Probably not many people.
Yeah.
Because we live in a world that offers yoga as an exercise or a quick fix. 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, loud music, heat.
Yeah, lots of distractions.
Distractions.
But we've experienced all of the great residual or results of regularly practicing. I mean, for instance, you're at meditation now, and we're going through the 8 limbs, but I mean, there's great things that a human can experience with using the tools. Yamas, niyamas, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, they're all tools and awareness to create a practice and rituals that can enrich and enhance anyone's life.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. What I've heard was practice. All of the past podcast, we've discussed yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. The 8 limbs are a framework that you can return to over and over again to check yourself. How? To check your progression, to check if it's working. Am I happier? Do I feel more ease in my life? Is there less stress? Am I less reactive? There's so many different ways that you can check the 8 limbs against how you're living to see if there's growth, if you want it. Mm-hmm. But here right now, we're diving into internal awareness. Not the outside, not the body with the asana, not the breath, but what's inside. And it is a continual practice to turn away from distractions. But you first have to know what is distracting you. The question I would like to pose to you all is, where does your energy go every day? Where are you looking on Instagram for 3 hours? Are you watching YouTube? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you at work? Are you gossiping? Are you eating, sleeping? Where is your energy and your focus? And is it feeding you or draining you? How is it impacting you?
Yeah, it's big. It reminds me of that story of a Buddhist monk coming to Times Square for the first time in New York City and seeing all the signage and the flashing lights, and he says, "They're trying to steal my mind." It's just distractions, so many distractions, and now we hold them in the palm of our hand on our phone, and you really could go down a rabbit hole there.
Yes, which I have multiple times. Dan is looking at me sweetly and trying not to tell you all that when I feel stressed, I have a part of me that goes right to the phone, not as much now, actually barely now, but would start scrolling. And he would say to me, "What are you doing?" "I'm trying to calm down," or "I don't know what I'm doing." I was stuck in a loop. But what I realized was it was either enraging me, exhausting me,
agitating you, getting
agitating
you revved
me.
up. Yeah, and that's a good noteworthy story there, Joe, because it's a great thing for any of our listeners in the audience to become aware of. And it's not a judgment. It's like, so if you go to a certain something, your phone or TV show or another distraction of your choosing, I would always say, don't judge it, but become aware first of, okay, if I go there, and I keep going there, try to get that flashpoint right before you go there. What's going on right before that? Are you, what's triggering you to be stressed out that you go there instead of choosing wellness or breath or going to a yoga class or something like that instead?
Yeah, totally. There is no judgment. And that's where I want to go next is music in yoga. People ask me why I don't use music. And the answer is it's an extra distraction. It doesn't mean yoga's good or bad. As a yoga teacher, you need to know what you want to offer your students. And as a person who takes yoga, you want to know what your goal is. And if your goal is Pratyahara, it will be challenging if you're listening to music and it's invoking emotions.
Right. That's what music often does. It creates, it evokes emotion or thought patterns or brings you somewhere outside of the space in your practice.
Which isn't a concern if you weren't doing yoga, which is trying to bring you inside to your internal body and to start to learn more about yourself. Not yourself in dance class or yourself with music, yourself. And that's what these limbs are about. What's happening out in the world was the first two limbs. What's happening with your body, now with your breath. But if we start to go more and more, we have to control our senses. And the word control, I looked up because I always feel that control has a negative connotation.
Connotation, yep.
I always feel that it has a negative connotation.
Connotation.
Why don't you say it instead?
Jody always feels like control has a negative connotation.
Yes. I looked it up. And here are different words for control. To direct your behavior.
Nice.
To direct people's behavior or the course of events. So you're directing your behavior, again, towards something. It can also mean to regulate, to manage, and to oversee. Pratyahara is overseeing and managing your senses, your sight, your smell, your hearing, your taste, your sensory, and bringing it back to you, turning away from the attraction. Oh, shiny object. Right. I'm over here. I'm over there. Where are you? I can't stay still. I can't focus.
That in my asana practice, that singularly is this great thing that I listen deeply. I've had a couple of injuries in my life that have taken me decades to get with. And listening inward to the feedback my body gives me in particular spots. For me, it's my neck and my shoulder from an injury, but I've spent so much time undoing tissue that has been moved from accident in my body and it just feels like this never-ending unwinding. But it's not possible if I had, it would not be possible if I hadn't taken the time to slow down in my practice and really listen to my body and feel, and it almost, in a great way, it almost controls or guides or dictates how I thirst to move.
Listen, that's the word that stood out as you shared. Pratyahara is asking, are you listening to me? Are you listening to yourself? What are your needs? What do you want? How do you feel? Are you hungry? Are you tired? We lose this connection to ourself because we override internal signals on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Interoception. We override, I'm hungry. Oh, in just 5 more minutes. Or we override when we're tired. The other night, it was late, 7, and Dan and I had to go to Whole Foods. And in my mind, I thought, bed, go to bed, go to bed. But I overrode that, and we went to Whole Foods. And a couple minutes later, Dan says, you're being mean. I'm being mean. I'm tired. I'm cranky. And I overrode the signal of tiredness. Mm-hmm. What Pratyahara offers on this path of yoga is an opportunity to look out and say, do I really want to go to Whole Foods right now? Look out at the external circumstances, and then say, no. What's here? Listen inside.
Super important.
When we withdraw our senses, it could seem like we're asking you not to look, not to listen, not to smell, not to taste. That can't happen. Pratyahara means to turn away from. When I'm meditating, I can hear Gabby, our dog. She's the cutest little thing. She's got a beard.
And big ears.
Baby Yoda with a beard, she looks like. I'll hear Gabby's feet. Tick, 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 tick. Now, I could open my eyes and go with that, or I can turn back and say, what's here right now?
Would you say that this then can become an opportunity where Pratyahara is you're turning in so much that you're becoming aware and listening deeper to your body? So, like, for example, like, I don't know what I do without listening to my pain sensation to greater and lesser degrees, like the chronic pain that I have. I feel, and I've witnessed and seen on the table with my practice and body work, where essentially people are adapting to the pain that they're experiencing instead of listening to it and working with it. Because, and with all that I've witnessed and all that I've heard and all that I've been educated on and all that I've seen, pain is our most sophisticated signal that's telling us simply something's not right, something's not in the right place. And so Pratyahara, in your asana practice, when you're listening to your body, feeling it, feeling deeply the sensation in your body and working with it instead of running away from it, is such a great experience. You can come to this threshold where you realize that pain can be sweet, it can be productive, it can be rewarding, and it can create a sense of freedom if you have the courage to work with it.
Wow. We do move away from pain. Pain changes us. And the body signals us over and over again, hey, I'm over here. Just stretch. Or, hey, I'm over here. Maybe don't eat dairy. Hey, I'm over here. I'm over here. And we ignore the signals. And once we ignore the signals, we then create stories about the signals, excuses, rationalizations, and fear around the signals. Oh my God, I have a headache. Oh my God, this is happening, instead of meeting it. the practice of asana with breath offers sustainability in discomfort. When you can sustain discomfort, sit with it, meet it, even uncertainty, doesn't have to be pain, but when you can meet it long enough, not get distracted, right? Pratyahara, not get, oh, over here, I'm over here. I got to go to this doctor. I got to go to this healer. I got to do this. I got to do that. If you can stop that for a moment, turn in and say, I want to be with you. I want to be with my pain. I want to be with my joy. I want to be with my sorrow, and learn how to not change it, be with it. It will inform you.
Mm-hmm.
It will share with you
Big time.
the reason it's there.
That's right.
Then transformation occurs. In modern yoga, Pratyahara is practiced by focusing on a dristi. And a dristi is a gaze. In Ashtanga yoga, that's a style of yoga. In Ashtanga yoga, they focus on a dristi, a gaze, and that gaze helps people, that focal point, whether it's the fingers or the tip of the nose or the wall, whatever that gaze is, the person is asked to keep returning or stay focused on that gaze. So you're practicing withdrawing from the room and staying at that one point over and over and over again. And I don't know if our listeners have ever heard this, but some teachers say, stay on your mat. Don't look around the room, stay on your mat. That's Pratyahara. Sally may be huffing and puffing. Tommy may be breathing like Darth Vader in the corner.
I've heard that.
I know. Luke, I am your father. Yeah. Breathing to the point where they're burning their lungs.
It's pretty interesting.
Sorry. Yes, it's funny and endearing because we don't know how to breathe, right? So we work the breath and sometimes too hard. But there's always one person, I shouldn't say that. There's sometimes one person looking around the room at all those people, annoyed with them because they can't focus.
Mm-hmm.
Right there's the work.
Mm-hmm.
Right there is the work.
Right.
Is stop focusing on them and fighting it. Notice it. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to come back to me on this mat right here, right now.
Powerful. It's a challenge, though.
Well, when in our life are we taught to withdraw from the outer world and to sit and be still with no music, no TV, nothing, no books?
Yeah.
But it's in that time of stillness and quiet where what has been kept at bay comes to be seen. Good. And if we don't have the skills to do that, to see it and to be with it, we then distract again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of a story. Dan and I went on a silent retreat for our honeymoon up in Yogaville in Virginia. Oh, down in Yogaville. Listen, I know about yoga, not geography, okay? So I have a little story about a silent retreat Dan and I went on. And we're at this silent retreat and these women are talking. And these women are talking all the time, not loudly, but it's bothering me because it's supposed to be a silent retreat. Now me and Dan go to bed and we're sleeping in separate beds. We're not talking. It's a silent retreat. I play by the rules. And the people downstairs are doing yoga, talking.
I remember.
I go downstairs. I knock on the door. I'm like, it's a silent retreat. I'm so angry that people are talking during this silent retreat that I talked to the event planner. I said...
You talked to the host?
No, wait. First, the event planner. And I shared that, listen, people are talking and I'm not going to have it. I paid for a silent retreat and they're bothering me.
Yeah, you meant business.
I meant business. Well, I didn't think she was going to tell the spiritual teacher, but she did. And the spiritual teacher cornered me and said, "Can I talk to you for a moment?" I said, "Yes." She brings me in a room, an empty room, and sits me down and says, "I hear you have a problem that people are talking." And I said, "Absolutely. It's a silent retreat and they're bothering me." And she said, I said, "They're being noisy." And she went, I said, "Oh my God, I'm the problem, aren't I?" And she said, "Yes." The problem isn't the noise outside that's bothering you. The noise inside is bothering you. I cried and I realized that I couldn't sit still with the noise inside. That I needed to keep running and doing things. And if not, I needed to be so silent so I could focus.
Yeah, that was some challenging times for you, health-wise, and so it would be hard to figure out exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what's causing it. That's also important. It doesn't matter why we do what we do. What matters is doing practices to support us to change and transform if we want to.
So you discovered a piece of work that you had to do.
Yes. If we cannot cultivate the ability to turn in, we will never meet our true essence. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by our true essence is underneath it all, we're all connected. Underneath it all, innate goodness and love lives there. Hatred does not come from the womb. We don't come out with hatred. We don't come out with division and divisiveness. Innately, we're whole and we want wholeness. We gravitate towards wholeness. But through life, we turn out for validation, for love, for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
We turn out. But the goal of yoga and the progression to mastery of self, according to yoga, if you want to master self, you have to turn away from the distractions and the noise and be in stillness and silent for extended periods of time to meet peace and unconditional love.
Which, beyond asana, is a loftier, larger goal that all these tools are bringing you toward, is, concentration and meditation, all of the things that our predecessors of that, all the limbs before that are tools we're using to get us in shape, such good shape that we're able to sit still. My experience with craniosacral energy work is that in that deep stillness, the opportunity for you to experience the essence of who you are, of what you are, whatever you want to call it, who you are, what you are. The stillness creates an opportunity for you to experience the essence of yourself, the essence of what you are, of who you are. And that essence I experience to be love, purity, but it's in the stillness. It's not in the asana. It's not in the breath work, although those are the tools that are taking us on this path to be able to be still. It's in the quiet. It's in the stillness. It's in the calm. You get to experience who you are truly, deeply, purely.
Breathe that in. Take a deep breath in, my friends, and breathe that in. There's a part of us deep within that has never been altered. We just have forgotten. We've forgotten peace. We've forgotten love. We've forgotten community.
We've gotten busy.
Yes.
We've been preoccupied. We've gotten distracted. But all this lies in waiting. All this lies here. All these tools, they're nothing you can't do. And if you're considering going to a yoga class and you don't know exactly what to expect, you just have to start to clock your experience with it. Asana is a great way in. Go to a yoga class, just bust down the door and get in there and have the experience and develop the experience and cultivate your experience with it and listen and listen and listen.
And become comfortable with yourself.
And then you'll be living.
Yes. Asana is the body. The breath moves the body, feeds the body, nourishes the body. You're in it. What pulls you out? Who pulls you out? Music can pull you out. TV shows can pull you out. People.
Processing your own challenges. If you're not keen, if you're not really working it, your own challenges, your own stress can.
Yes, what you're not aware of. Yeah. So I ask you that in this moment, as we just shared some of this stuff, can you bring to mind something that distracts you or that you allow to distract you or that feels safe to take you away from you, that has to take you out of you? Is it TV? Because coming home on the weekend and watching TV isn't relaxing. It may feel relaxing, but relaxation is active. So what is distracting us? Who is distracting us? It could be food.
Yeah, and we're humans too. We've had those distractions, but it's really cool when we come around full circle into that moment and we're like, how about after 7:00 we shut off all the electronics? And it's amazing what that does. It's amazing how our systems turn down, turn in, and we fall asleep in no time. Whereas if we're on our phones or watching a movie, it like amps us up. And the next thing you know, we're up late hours. And it's just that magical thing is literally just turning off.
I am an IFS practitioner, internal family systems practitioner, founded by Dick Schwartz. And I work with people in guiding them through the IFS practice. I work with multiple addictions, people that have addictions, even to caffeine. And what happens is people will say, oh, it's not that bad. I love it. I need the coffee. I need this to function.
I choose it.
Mm-hmm. And so I offer this. What happens if you can't have your coffee? What happens if you can't have it for 3 months? Mm-hmm. If we cannot live without a substance for a certain amount of time or a thing, that is when I would start to be concerned, or I would start to communicate with that. So if there's a point where I can't stop watching a certain TV show, I like to binge watch when I watch TV, Bosch or MacGyver. Reacher or MacGyver. Monk. Yeah. Dan giggles at me because I can watch 30 episodes in one day. When I feel driven to something that I have to watch it, I have to do it, that's when I start to have a deeper conversation. So the offering is, with Pratyahara, if you want to really meet yourself underneath the stories, underneath the persona, underneath the pain, you will need to turn away, Pratya, turn away from the external world and be with yourself long enough to get to know yourself again.
Right. And it doesn't always have to be weighty or negative. Yeah, I just wanted to say, a client recently said, it's just like quitting anything. She said, have a warm bath every night before you go to sleep, and then have somebody tell you you can't take a warm bath tonight. It's that same thing. It's not always so stark or deep or bold or alienating, but get tuned in.
Yeah. Here's some homework. Would anyone like homework?
Homework from Become One Living.
I think I heard the crowd go wild. Homework. Whoa, yeah. Just to contemplate that. Where is your energy going? Where do you feel you're focusing on the external world? And is there one place or one thing you can do to release it, to change it, to come back home to yourself? Turn away from the outer world. You need you. Mm-hmm. You're waiting for yourself. Mm-hmm. And we long for this sense of connection. And yet most of us are so disconnected from ourselves. So may we take time to see, where are we focusing our energy? May we see our importance of self, because once we can lead ourselves, then we can be with others more deeply. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's why I do yoga.
Same here.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
If you have any questions,
you can email us the questions at becomeoneliving@gmail.com. And you can follow us at Become One Living on Instagram.